everybody, it's Dr. Sandman. I hope that all of you are doing great. We're back for another mug mutterings video. If you don't know what that is, it's basically my version of story time and a thinly veiled attempt at showing you my mug collection. So today, this was recently gifted to me. It's Nightmare Before Christmas. It's seriously spooky. It's got Jack Skellington on it. The topic for today is how I accidentally started a rumor about one of my former bosses. So that's fun, you know, some treachery. This happened when I was in college, and this is a few years ago now. So either my second or third semester when I was in college, I became an RA, and I was new to it, and we had 3 RDs, resident directors, who were our bosses. We had 1 per dorm hall. And one of the RDs that semester was new. This was her first time being an RD at that school. For the sake of keeping her anonymous, we're gonna call her Sally, okay? The thing about Sally, she was cool. We liked her. She was fun. But right at the beginning, when we were first starting out, so we had like a week, maybe it was 2 weeks, I don't remember, of training before the semester started. And basically, it was like training to figure out all the rules, how we do our job, and also like team building exercises. And then one of the days, and we knew a little bit about Sally, but all the information we knew about her was told to us by the other RDs. She didn't really disclose anything herself. And one of my coworkers said, yeah, I was talking to Sally the other day, and I asked her if she was an RD at the last college that she worked at, and she said, I don't like to disclose personal details to the RAs that I work with. It's like, Sally, she probably doesn't even fucking care about the answer. She probably just was trying to be nice and talk to you. And she asked her like what she likes to do for fun, and she wouldn't answer that either. It was just really bizarre. So I was really good friends with one of the other RDs. Let's call him Gary, and I was good friends with him. I was working at the college during the summer, not as an RA, as something different, and so I got to hang out and get to know him a lot, and so we became friends, and we would joke together a lot. So I came down to his office one day, and I said, hey, I think that Sally is a CIA agent. And he goes, yeah, do you? Why is that? I said, she doesn't reveal anything about herself. She's so secretive. We don't know a damn thing about this woman. He goes, you know, I think it's more likely that she's a Russian spy. And I said, oh yeah? And he goes, yeah. I said, oh my God, think about it. One of the few things that we did know about her was that she was from New Jersey, and the town she was from was called Brick. Which, first of all, sounds like a fucking fake name to start with. Then I said, you know what? She said she's from Brick. What do bricks make? And he goes, walls? And I said, yeah, and who's trying to put up a wall? And he goes, Trump. And I said, and who likes Trump? And he goes, Putin. And I said, where's Putin from? He goes, Russia. Case closed. He brought up like, oh, like she said the other day her favorite colors were baby blue, pink, and white. If you saturate those colors more, that's blue, red, and white. Those are the colors of the Russian flag. And it was just like really reaching, and it was a joke, and we were just having fun with it. We would always be joking back and forth, like in front of her too, like so she, like, it would be really cold outside, and we'd all be getting ready to go out for like an RA thing, and she'd be like, oh, I like the cold, and Gary would whisper to me, like, reminds her of home. And then she'd be like, what was that? And we'd be like, nothing. And he would be making jokes all the time, like he'd be like, Raven, I know how to catch Sally. And I said, yeah? And he goes, yeah, I know how to trap her. I'm gonna set down a bottle of vodka and put a crate over it and put a stick and a rope and wait. He'd be like, do you think she used to ride around a polar bear to get to work when she lived in Russia? I'm like, oh yes, most definitely. And so we were joking about this for a long time, and that's all it ever was a joke. And so at our college, the RAs had to make a theme board every month. If you've never went to college, or if you weren't in the dorms and you don't know what that's for, they would make a themed board every month, and it could be themed on literally anything, and it didn't, as long as it was appropriate. as long as it was informational or educational in some way. So it could be like study tips, or like there's this, these are the resources on campus that you could use, or like it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month or something like that. And like, for example, I did Scooby-Doos and Scooby-Don'ts of the residence halls. One time, I had done all my schoolwork and didn't have really any RA responsibilities, and I was really bored and I didn't have any plans one day, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on my board. And I was super bored. I had so much time in my hands, so I was like, I'm gonna do something for fun. And so before I put down my board, I put down another sheet of paper, a giant sheet of paper, and these boards are big, right? So, and I printed out a picture of Sally, and I put it right in the center, and I made it a conspiracy theory board about how she's a Russian spy, and I made it like a web work kind of conspiracy board, right? And I put down all the jokes that we made, like, oh, she's from brick, like bricks make walls, da, 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 Russian, like, yeah, all of our things like like that. And then I covered it with my board, that was like my theme board. And then I went to Gary's office and I said, hey Gary, I gotta show you something, I gotta show you my board. And he was like, okay. And I took him up to my floor, and I untacked my board and I pulled it up. He's like, what? And then he looked under it and he's like, oh my god, and then he starts laughing and shaking, and he looks at me, he goes, she can't know about this. And I said, she's not gonna. And I showed it to him because he was in on the joke, and I was like, you could add to this, so if you think of another joke, you could definitely like come up and add something to it. And he would do that. He actually like would on his own time just go to the board and add little jokes that he thought of how she was a Russian spy. I think one of them was like, it's what do you say when it's cold outside? It's a brick. She's from Brick, New Jersey, and it's always cold in Russia. She's Russian. Like, you know, it was always just the furthest you could reach. And so this went on for like a couple months. Like, I kept this up for a couple months, and when I had to change the board, I would just untack it. I wouldn't staple it, and I would just tack it so I could remove it and put it on easily. And then all good things come to an end. Oh, by the way, not a lot of people knew about this, so I told Gary, maybe two of the other RAs, and one of my best friends who was not a resident, so he didn't even go in the dorm halls. So not a lot of people knew about this, and they were all sworn to secrecy. There was an incident on my floor. I don't even remember what it was. I don't even remember what they said it was, but like something happened on the floor, and like something bad, and they had to check the cameras to see who was on the floor at the time of the incident. So Sally was the one checking the cameras, and I think she said it was her brother. Like, her brother had been visiting her at that point. I think it was her brother, or it was somebody she knew personally who was visiting her at work. And she was checking the cameras, and she looked on the cameras, and she sees a bunch of people, like a lot of people, more than five people that I told about this, looking under, getting off of the elevator and looking under my board. And she goes like, what are they all looking at? So she went to investigate with her brother, and she pulls up the board and she sees writing, and she's like, what? And then she sees her picture, and she cannot believe it. And her brother looks at it and he sees what it is, and he's like, he starts laughing like crazy. He's like, haha, that's so you, which I think says a lot. She called me down to her office. I did not know that she had found it, and she goes, I found the board. I said, no, you didn't. How could you have known? And she told me what happened. I said, I only told like 2 people. It was like 4. And I was like, and they weren't supposed to tell me about it. She goes like, a lot of people know about this. I don't know how they found out, but a lot of the residents are looking at this. And I was like, oh god, no. I thought she was gonna be really mad, but she goes, that's really funny. It's really funny, but you have to take it down. So I didn't take it down. I kept it up for like a couple more months and then I took it down. So after she found that, it became like more commonplace that like I would joke about her being a Russian spy. I would joke about it like with all of the RAs, even with some of the residents, like and she would kind of lean into it too because she thought it was funny, and she'd be like, oh yeah, like, watch out, don't say your secrets around me. Everyone was aware of the joke now, which was fine, and everyone else started making jokes about it, and it was fine. But it was always understood that it was jokes. Okay, like there was even one point where like for an event they did like a fundraiser. You could pay like $1 to pie an RD in the face, and it was all going to charity. And I did that. I was like, yeah, I'll pie Sally in the face. So I did. And right before I did it, I said, tell Putin, I said, das vidanya, and I slammed it in her face. For the RA training for like another semester, we had to take a test, and it was all multiple choice, and it was basically making sure that we retained a lot from the training or the retraining for some of us. It was just like what building has the advisor's office, or like, you know, like from what time to what time are quiet hours or whatever. And at the end of it, they added another one. It's like, what's your favorite version of Sally? Like RD Sally, New Jersey Sally, or Russian spy Sally. So they were joking about it. And it was so cool that it was really funny that the RDs were in on it. So that was funny, and it was going well, and all was good and well, right? Wrong. So one day she calls me down to her office again, and she said, Raven, the Russian spy jokes have to stop. I said, what? Are you kidding me? You said they were funny. You said they were funny, Sally. And she goes, they are funny, but it's gotten out of hand. I said, I don't know how it could get out of hand. It's just funny. Like, no one's serious. Oh, by the way, just for context, this is before the war started happening. So just in case you were wondering this whole time, this is like years, like a few years ago. So like the war involving Russia right now was not happening at this time. And she was saying, like, you know, this has gotten out of hand, it's, you know, you need to stop. And I said, why? And she goes, because, Raven, there are students, residents, coming up to me who don't know that it's a joke. And I said, are you kidding me? How do they not know it's a joke? How could you not think it's a joke that you're a Russian spy? She goes, they don't think I'm a Russian spy. They think I'm from Russia. And I was like, oh, that's not that bad. They think you're Russian, like, you know, I'm Irish. She goes, no, there have been residents coming up to me saying, not joking, 100% not joking, saying, so what was it like back in Russia? Or like, oh, I've always wanted to know, how do you say this in Russian? Asking her. And she has to say, I'm not Russian. I don't know where you heard that. So it was like a big game of telephone, and I don't know how it happened, but some way, somehow, it happened so that like the joke of her being a Russian spy spread, but some people only heard the Russian part. So some people believed that she had immigrated from Russia. I was in trouble. So she's like, you gotta stop making jokes about this. And I was like, okay. So naturally I didn't. But you know, no harm done. I don't know. I did not stop joking about it. It was too funny. I don't know how like the spy part dropped. That was an integral part of the joke, was that she was a spy. And she opened up as the semesters went on. You know, she was still a little cagey about some things, but like, you know, but she was really cool. She was honestly really cool. Her and I had like a love-hate relationship. I think I got on her nerves like a lot, and I made her job a lot harder very often, intentionally. She would yell at me a lot, but like I think at the end of the day we were cool. I had nothing against her. I think she hated me. But I thought she was great. So that's the story, how I accidentally started a rumor that my boss was indeed from Russia and she had never stepped foot in the country and did not have any Russian heritage. Maybe one of these days I'll show a picture on one of my social medias of the conspiracy board, because it's pretty extensive. So yeah. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Subscribe for more videos, for more mug mutterings. I know it's been a while since I put up one. And I will leave my social medias in the links in the description below. And I hope you have a good day. Bye.